Hi
guys.
Well, we are back from one of our most anticipated cruises of 2023.
Is that the one where we go to the moon?
No, Tristan, no. It was when we went on Aida Cosma.
Oh, you might recognise Aida. They're the ships with the giant lips and the big eye that kind of goes, I'm watching you. And as they sail past, there's a big disco going, I'm cooler than your ship.
Yeah, it's German.
Or possibly just very German, yeah.
So it is catered for the German market. And a little bit about the ship, Tristan.
So it is the Excellence class of ship, or the XL class. It's a specific subvariant called the Helios class. It carries about 6,600 passengers, maximum capacity, and about 1,700 crew. It's certainly a well-liked cruise ship by the Carnival Group as a whole. They've got, I think, about 8 or 9 now in various different company varies.
So like Costa.
You've got Costa, you've got P&O, you've got Carnival, you've got AIDA. I'm sure there's more.
So the big question was really, was it really what we expected? Because we had tried to go on this cruise about 7 times, but because of COVID and other reasons, we couldn't. So
the first rule of cruises is we don't say the C word. And I don't mean cruises, obviously. I mean COVID.
So let's have a little bit of a look, first of all, as to what we got up to. And let's get in and have a bit of a review. So let's roll VT!
Whenever I'm with you, I am alright. There's something about the way you make me feel inside. I'm counting down the days till we fly away, heading to the sun, only you and me. Don't wanna waste another day being stuck here in this place. No, wanna hold your hand in mine, watch the sunset in your eyes. Baby, I want us to act like we are 22 right now. Just let go, lose control, play songs on the radio too loud. This could be magical. Whoa, whoa. This could be magical. Whoa, driving narrow streets in a rusty car, leading to the sea, think we're getting close. We should take a pic, baby, strike a pose. I remember every day that I spent right here with you. Yeah, you are the one who makes me feel as good as I do. Baby, I want us to act like we are 22 right now. Just let go, lose control, play songs on the radio too loud. This could be magical. Whoa, whoa. This could be magical. Whoa,
Englishman on AIDA.
What a whirlwind of a week.
That was a whirlwind, and it just went so quick, I thought.
That's generally what's meant by a whirlwind, you know.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into the review, if you are enjoying our content, please ensure that you are subscribed and hit that like button, because it really helps our channel out.
And it costs us this much, 0. It costs you nothing to subscribe. And we're trying to get our channel up to the next milestone, which is 5,000 subscribers.
Yeah, we have said at 5,000 we may even think about doing a live. So if you want to ask us those questions, make sure you are subscribed and get writing those questions ready.
Let's get into it. Embarkation.
So as always, in very cruiseboy style, we flew in the day before, although we flew via Madrid, so we actually flew into Tenerife North, which until this cruise, I actually didn't know they had a north and a south airport. I thought there was only one. So I learned something new this cruise.
But we stayed overnight in a hotel, which was good, very close to the port.
It's a lovely little hotel, actually. It's part of the Marriott group. It's AH Hotel or something like that.
Yep.
It was a really nice and really good location, close to the port.
And there was a massive kids playground across the road. It was great.
And actually there was a Christmas market on, so it was really pretty with the three kings and stuff all lit up in lights and stuff. It was really, really pretty. We had a little wander around the night before, although we had dinner already, so maybe we shouldn't have, and we should have had dinner in the Christmas market, because it was kind of nice.
It was good. It was good atmosphere, wasn't it?
So actually on Embarkation Day, we got up a bit early, had a quick bit of breakfast, and went down to the seafront to explore a little bit, and actually found this really great little kids play area with sort of really marine themed and nautical themed and pirate ships and stuff.
Sinking and...
Justin hung out for a little while, Josh made some new friends, and the best bit was you could actually see the ship from where we were, so had really great views of the ship from the play area, so that was really cool.
Yeah. So we went back to the hotel, grabbed our bags, and headed off in a taxi down to the port.
And actually, because Tenerife isn't the main port for Embarkation for this cruise, that's actually Gran Canaria, it wasn't too busy.
So it was interesting because the language was in German. I'm sure if you pushed them, they would have, spoken to us in English. So, but
we did kind of expect that, though. It is a German cruise line, and we did know all the booking processes in German pretty much as well. Although Google Translate does translate the page very well.
But to be quite honest, we speak German anyway, so it wasn't too difficult for us. There was one very strange thing.
Well, she was very strict suddenly. She got very funny around us. And she sort of said, I'm going to take your passports and just go over there for a little bit. So just there for like 5-10 minutes, was sort of squirreled in the corner chatting to one of her colleagues. And she then sort of came back and she was like, oh, we're going to have to keep your passports. And I was like,
what?
Why? I was like, I know this does happen on some cruises, but that's normally sort of further afield, like Asia or something like that, where you're going to multiple different countries. And the first time I've ever had to do that on a cruise ship.
That made me a bit nervous. I mean, not to have my physical passport, I was very nervous, but they reassured us that they were there, and at the end of the cruise we could actually get them.
Yeah, the reason for this, by the way, if you were wondering, is the B word, Brexit. So because we are classed as Auslanders in German, so we are third country foreigners, basically, we have to now actually surrender our passports on the cruise ship so that they can, because what they're doing is because most people on the ship were from the EU, they're not really going through passport and things. So whereas now on some cruise ships from the UK, like P&O, when you go, there may be a customs clearance in the port, or they may have passport control as you go through the terminal at each port. Here they didn't. There was never any of that at any of the ports. You could literally just get off and walk off. So bar security obviously came back on. But
the ship?
Now you'd think that we'd be getting used to this class of ships. I mean, I've done Iona. We've done Smeralda, Toscana and things. So you think we'd be getting used to it. Well, you'd be wrong, because each one seems to be very different in many ways.
Yeah, it's interesting that, I've only been on the Costa ships and now AIDA as well, and just seeing the use of space is just so different. And then you said the same with Iona.
One of those things will really shock you, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it is a different concept to some of the other cruise ships that we've been on before. So we'll give you a little bit of an idea of how the ship layout is.
I think one of the most shocking, or most noticeable differences for me was most cruise lines that I've always been on up until now, when you get on board and you get your card or whatever, your cruise card, you have a main dining room restaurant for your evening meal. On AIDA,
There's no main dining room. So it's a very different concept. We're going to get back onto that when we talk about food in a moment.
Indeed, we are.
One of the other big things that we noticed was...
There's no theatre.
There's no actual theatre. There is a theatrium and... Theatrium, sorry. And that is in the middle atrium part. It's kind of like what they have on Costa, which is like a theatre.
Yeah,
like
so
it's their theatre.
all these ships do have certain things in common. So the main atrium is that kind of main round area with big glass windows either side and stuff, which let in a lot of light, which is really cool. Costa and AIDA both have a lot of bars in that area. So does P&O. They have a lot of restaurants and things and coffee shops and stuff. So it's always slightly different. Obviously, P&O, you have the giant staircases that go up through the middle. On Costa and also now on AIDA, as we found out, it's a big kind of like entertainment space where they do a lot of shows.
Yeah. The only other entertainment space that I did see was like the Studio X, and that's where they did sort of like game shows and family game shows and things like that as well.
It was like a TV studio.
Yeah.
And one really nice thing in the theatrium that they have improved though, theatrium, that one, theatrium. I'm just going to say theatrium is that they have shrunk the pillars compared to Costa, and also made sure that there aren't chairs sitting behind them. So Costa, if you're listening, maybe adjust it a little because that works a lot better.
True, that's true.
One thing that XL class ships definitely have in abundance is hot tubs and pools.
Hot tub central on there.
Hot tub central indeed, and pools. One thing I'm finding really interesting as well on this class of ships is the big sort of central dome area. They all seem to have this area. I do think still Costa do this the best.
I agree.
But the concept on AIDA was really different, wasn't it? You had this enormous star-shaped bar called the AIDA bar. It was very cool.
And it was the beach club.
And the beach club, which had loads of space around it to just sort of relax and chill and things. And actually quite a decent sized pool in the middle as well.
Yeah. Lounges,
board game, hut
things. There was tents. There was, it was really interesting. But it was a real good hub of the ship, and we spent a lot of time in there.
It is. One thing it is not good for, and they all seem to repeat the same error, music. It's so bad. The acoustics in the space are terrible for it. And they all keep using it, and I'm like, please stop. It's bad.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was a good place to go. Apart from that, they had some pools on the outside deck.
Yes, you got two pools that I remember on the outside deck. You got one near the FK Carburai. See earlier for what that is. If you've missed it and skipped it, naughty. And at the back, you have the typical kind of pool at the back, infinity pool, which I'm going to call it, but the one that famously splashes over the back every time. But what they seem to have done is the rooms below it actually have a little like tenting over them, over their balcony to kind of like protect them, I'm assuming, from all the water that's going to spray on them.
I thought the outdoor space was really, really good, and Costa did this really well as well. It's a ship for night. There is so much light outside. It's beautiful to walk around the promenade deck, especially when it was like nice and warm at night.
One thing AIDA did do really well as well, actually, is the back up high as well as down low was really good. The back had a bar, two bars actually.
Yeah, two bars,
and it had loads of seating. It had a big screen. It had a little stage for acts to play on, and they did actually have acts performing, which I've not seen on like Costa has a sort of stage. But I've never seen it happen. So this was really nice, a real hub of activity as well.
Yeah, and then if you went up a bit further up on the ship, which you could walk up, there was actually a viewing platform. It was a 360-degree viewing platform with binoculars. And you could see not just the ship, but the port that you're in. You're really high up, and I thought that was such a brilliant idea.
The sort of binoculars that you normally would have to put money in, but these ones. No. Also up there's the kind of rickety rope bridge thing that you can cross to the sports area, which also is quite cool. It has a very Royal Caribbean perhaps inspired rock climbing wall.
Yeah, a couple of slides there. So there was a couple of like razor slides. Slides weren't. They're okay. They were sort of tucked away.
It's kind of weird because they're not really They're not far from the pools.
No.
But they're not really connected
in any way.
So you kind of have to go, I'm going to go and do these slides.
But you've got to go in the ship and then up. It's weird.
But then there's no splash area around where you land or something for people to sit whilst the kids run around and do the slides or something. So it's kind of like, let's go do the slides. Okay, now we're done with the slides. Now we'll move on to somewhere else. So it's a bit disjointed, I think. It's not... They're great slides, really good slides, but not the best kind of layout for it.
Yeah, I mean, so what I found with the ship was that there was like hubs everywhere of like different places where people could go. So I think it was good that not everyone was always in the same place.
Yeah, one really nice thing they had. The ship is really designed well for families and kids. Actually, they had a soft play indoor.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Which was great with slides and kind of like little huts hiding up high in like treehouse type style things and stuff low down. It was really good actually, and completely free to use. And that was a really nice touch. Just for kids and families, this ship is so well designed.
Absolutely. The cabin. Well, the cabin was, I'd say it was basic. It was nothing amazing or spectacular.
It is probably actually the most basic out of the ones of that class of ship that we've been in, which is kind of interesting actually.
Yeah. So we were in a Veranda Comfort Deluxe. And if you want to see more about that, you can check out the link above to have a good look at that cabin. It was interesting, very German. You have the double bed with the two duvets.
I don't get the two duvet thing.
It means don't steal my duvet. And I won't.
It's kind of like there's a permanent separation between us. Actually, was how I felt. And
That's
actually, out of most of the beds, when they put the beds together on most cruise ships, they pretty much feel like a king size bed.
Yeah.
They don't feel separate. This, I don't know if it was just because we had a separate duvet each.
Yep.
But it really felt like there was a big divide between the beds. Still.
That I agree.
More than most. I don't know if they normally put a topper over to make them feel more when they are together, but one thing I found really interesting is, and you might have noticed this if you've been on this class on Iona or Avia, is the bathroom looked very familiar.
It's small but practical, yeah?
It is. It is basically the same bathroom as those ships. So the floor is the same, everything. It was a little bit cramped, and as you'll see as our vlog series comes out, we do Bevies in the Bad at Zimmer. Yeah. Which is our latest one in our vlog series for that.
So you'll have to stay tuned for that as well.
Yep.
Now, the balcony itself, we had a sort of more of an extended kind of balcony because we went out on
lovely balcony.
What was it? The bump bit, as I call it? The bump bit of those ships?
The what bump?
The bump bit. You know, the bump bit. The bump bit. Anyway, we had a bit more of an extended balcony.
It was really nice actually to give it a bit more space. Although one thing with those ones was, because it had one really cool thing, which is the hammock that it has in there.
Proper hammock.
Has a proper hammock, not the sort of
strong hand one. That's
I quite like the Virgin one. I prefer the Virgin one actually, because I can get in and out of it easier.
Yeah.
But one thing that was a bit weird with this one was, when you had the hammock out on our extended balcony, you couldn't really easily get around it to then sit in the chairs. So I was kind of sitting there thinking, how do they do this when you're on a normal balcony? A more standard balcony. Which they weren't small balconies, the standard ones, but it was a bit. I was like, how did they like?
Yeah,
this is going to be very like crap. In fact, I thought, would you not be like swinging the hammock and like whack the chair, or whack the person in the chair? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, good. But there is one disadvantage in regards to cabins, and we're not going to talk about it until our final thoughts. So you're going to have to hang around.
Biggie, and you are not going to want to miss that. And don't you skip. We know if you skip.
Listen.
The food.
Yes, the food. If you want something different and a different concept, AIDA has it.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, there is no main dining room as such on board. So what you have instead is included buffets and included themed restaurants. Interesting enough, the buffets are themed as well. So you actually have a kind of Asian, Far Eastern style buffet. You have a fish buffet, Italian. There's a kids and family buffet. I'm assuming that is just modelled on Disaster Zone. I'm not sure. But yes, you get that. And then you have various included restaurants from... You have a Chinese hot pot, kind of Chinese?
Yeah, Chinese hot pot.
Hot pot one. You have a French style restaurant. There is an Italian restaurant as well. And of course, there is Justin's favourite restaurant.
The Brauhaus. Which serves very typical German food. So your bratwurst, your sauerkraut, your schnitzels, your German beer. Oh, loved it.
Typische deutsches Essen.
Typische deutsches Essen, that's right. And we spent a lot of time in the Brauhaus, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Mainly because you can't actually... It's the one that in advance you can't book at all. Mm-hmm. So therefore it was available for us to use because we weren't told beforehand, and this is the big tip that we would give is you do for the not for the buffets, obviously you don't need to book a buffet ever, But what you do need to book is the included restaurants, the themed ones, in advance. And because we didn't realise this, it was kind of a bit too late by the time we got on board. And therefore, it was kind of like, we're going to have buffet for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And on about day 3, I think I said to Justin, if I go to a buffet again, I'm going to scream.
But yeah, the Brauhaus was a good option. They had the best food, didn't they?
They did. Actually, there were some really good food options from in all the restaurants, including, actually, really interestingly, sushi restaurant, which is included. Yeah. And let's not forget the late night bites, or the I forgot that I needed to go and have lunch and I got back late to the ship, where you have currywurst,
gyros. Oh, pizza and gyros. Oh,
funny enough, the gyros, or doner kebab for those in the Brits here, at about 10, 11 o'clock at night was incredibly popular. I can't think why.
I don't know. I was just getting the bratwurst, like the currywurst, because I love currywurst. And they gave you like one sausage and cut it up and put the stuff on it. And I was just like, just give me 3. So what it was missing was the chips. Gave you the
bread roll, I was like, where's the chips? I want my currywurst and pommes, not my currywurst and a bread roll.
No, exactly. But yeah, it was a good experience. I mean, it's very different concept, and just to try and get your head around it, there was some other restaurants on board that you could pay extra for.
Yeah, so there are paid special. It's funny, the bookable restaurants are called specialities, which kind of throws you a bit. But then they also have like paid for specialities. So there is a Radizio, which is like, so instead of a steakhouse actually on board, they have a Radizio, so where they keep kind of bringing the meats around and they'll just shave off bits of steak for you and stuff. So Brazilian kind of style steakhouse. What other ones? There's a teppanyaki restaurant as well.
There was the time machine, which looked really interesting. So the time machine was a concept where they would take you through a journey and food journey or something, but we just we couldn't book it really.
No, it was booked before we got on board. Now, being a Brit, I do also really like a bit of afternoon tea, if you don't mind. However, being a German ship, they don't have afternoon tea. What do they have instead, Justin?
They have Kaffee und Kuchen, Kaffee und Kuchen, Kaffee und Kuchen. That is very German, is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, every day, you went and got your coffee and your cake. And it was
a giant slice of cake, and there was a lot of choice. So, to be fair, you could pretty much have an afternoon tea, really, just not finger size. They were just giant slices.
Giant slice of cake. So, drinks and bars.
I think and
bars.
That's
bars
not
and
so
drinking.
That's not so exciting.
There was plenty of bars around, wasn't there?
There are an awful lot of bars. I think there's something like 17 bars on board, so not quite as many as MSC's 21, I think it is. But there's certainly enough to keep you busy and occupied.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. You could just, there was bar service. What I did find, though, was that the ratio...
You mean table service, not
table
bar
service, not bar service. Well, most
there
of the
is bar service, too. They will serve you at the bar, but there is table service.
And that we had to go to the bar a lot because the ratio of passenger to staff, I felt sometimes was a little bit lacking.
It's a bit low. It's on the low side, definitely.
The staff were working their socks off.
Yeah, so one interesting concept, again, with AIDA is that on the standard fare, they include your drinks with your meals. So it's not all drinks.
No.
It is basically beers like from the tap kind of thing. Soft drinks and juices. House wines and juices in the mornings and coffee in the mornings.
And one thing that was really good, which I love, is that they had proper tea, like proper... loose leaf fruit tea, which you could make, and the Germans do it so well.
They did. If you don't want to do that, or you want to have drinks outside of that time, you would have to pay. In theory, you could, I suppose, go to one of the restaurants during that time, take a drink and walk out with it. No one's going to stop you. However, if you generally want one from a bar and you don't want to pay each time plus a gratuity, then you would need to go for the all-inclusive package, drinks package, and it is very all-inclusive. There's really not much then that isn't included, to be fair.
No. Let me entertain you. Entertainment.
I'm going to take my eye out one of these days with that. So the entertainment was lacking on this cruise, certainly. We were really hoping for some really things. They showed this kind of big expo at the start of the cruise and lots of demos of it on that night, and then after that night there was basically very little ever again.
What we did see was good. though.
Yeah, what we did see was very good. Very acrobatic, lots of music, lots of singing.
English, yeah.
Yeah, all in English, actually, to be fair. We did also have some Christmas carols because we were sailing at Christmas, which was quite cool. Although we obviously, mostly they were the German Christmas carols. But they also liked a lot of Bublé. So we had like a Bublé impersonator.
Yeah, kind
of. That was kind of performing a lot. And he was very good, actually. And then often they were joined with like the acrobatic kind of shows, stereotypical shows now that I think cruise lines are going more and more for now.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool, but most nights there wasn't really much on, or if there was, we missed it completely.
The thing that we found with AIDA was that because you look at the ship and you see all the colourful lights and you're thinking German, oosh, 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 and it was like 10:30 and it's like, oh, what's going on? Nothing.
Yeah, you used to turn the lights up at about 11 p.m. and be like,
and it was just
like clearing down, and you're like, oh, what's going on?
Okay.
They're like, well, everyone's gone to bed, so go. Bedtime now.
I mean, there was just certain areas where they could have put on some live entertainment, and they just didn't. I'll give you an example. It was like the Brauhaus. The Brauhaus had a stage, and I thought they would have done a bit of oompa, and everyone would get up and do stuff, but nothing. Was
I'm noticing a theme here. Oompa, ooch, ooch, ooch,
ooch, ooch. Yeah.
Getting a theme here, but none of that happened.
No, it didn't.
Even actually, Christmas Eve, we went for Christmas Eve in the Brauhaus. And I was like, oh, they're definitely going to put on a show tonight, aren't they?
No, nothing. The only show that was put on was me because they had these big long tables, and every time I had to go and get out of the table, I knocked all the plates and glasses over and the cutlery. So I was the entertainment for that night.
He is that guy, ladies and gentlemen. He is that guy.
Yeah. We did, as I said, we always tended to get or have entertainment where it was the sound check. So when we were in the beach club, they were playing music and that. Acoustics, as you said, aren't the best in there, but it was good to have a bit of a sing-along, but it was all sound check.
There was actually more entertainment seemingly during the daytime.
Yeah.
We had the guy come along who was pretending to sleep and do things like that. Yeah. And you had lots of things like that, like ad hoc shows during the day, but on an evening there was no real big kind of like theatre production or show most of the nights. There was literally, I think, that one night where they did the big production. That was it.
That was it. And so it was a bit disappointing on the entertainment front.
Yeah.
Kids Club.
Well, again, another bit of a not non-existent. It was a good kids club, and it was really cool.
And the people were nice,
but it was just very limiting. Again, like there was only maybe 2 or 3 hours a day that you could actually leave your children there. The rest of the time, what they wanted you to do was pay to leave your kids there. Yeah, I was a bit like, well, most cruise lines will do like sessions during the day, morning and afternoon and evening session, and even the evening session. I mean, when it was on, it finished by 9 anyway. So it was like, well, Josh isn't, when we're on holiday, doesn't want to go to bed at 9 p.m. He wants to stay up till about at least 11 with us. Yeah. So it was very kind of like, okay, which actually I didn't mind. It meant that we had more of a holiday with Josh. Which was good
with Josh, yeah.
Just Josh thought this was the worst thing ever because he was like, I've got to spend time with you.
Yeah, he didn't mind Kids Club though. So when he was at Kids Club as well, we did encourage him to speak German because he is learning German. But they'd speak English to him. He did, do a bit of craft and stuff like that, and he seemed to have a good time whilst he was in Kids Club itself.
And some of the things as well, the Teens Club looked really cool, actually, a really nice place. It was always just open for teens to use as well, so there was far less pre-organised activities for them. It was just kind of like, you can come in, meet up, find friends to chat to, and right next to that was the games arcade, so not planned at all that they'd spend all the money in the games arcade.
So as you said earlier, this is a ship for kids and families, and the way in which kids and family come together is a bit different to other cruise ships. So rather than going and putting kids in a kids club, there's an encouragement to go and play with your kids, to get involved in their playing and activity, which is good. It's a different type of holiday, and also board games. I mean, Germans love their board games, so there's like areas where you can go play board games and spend a lot of time together as a family.
They had an enormous selection of board games in the beach club. One thing that I did find kind of funny though, they had German Monopoly, and I was like, do they want the families to like kill each other before the end of the holiday? I think Josh at one was like, we could play Monopoly. I was like, we could not.
No, we're not. So, but yeah.
No, you mean the spa?
The spa, nein. Relax. The spa. Chill. Yes, the spa on AIDA. Oh my gosh. Now, I say this all the time. I go into a spa and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so big.
No, this really was on another level. This was multi-level.
Monstrous.
This was multi-level. This not only had about 4 or 5 different types of sauna and probably about 3 steam rooms, warm beds. You had a huge outdoor space as well with some beds, little cozy lounges, 3 or 4 hot tubs. We said it was hot tub central. We meant it. It had so much on the outdoor space. It was like a whole section of the deck 8 promenade deck.
And that was just a thermal.
spa.
That was kind of the thermal and outside part. What we didn't realise was there was a whole another section.
Well,
which was called.
Found it.
Well, we did find it in the end, but we went there and it was called the Oasis, and it is massive.
It's enormous. It's got this humongous hot tub bubbly pool thing in it again. See, hot tub central. It had these kind of weird bench things that you lay down on and they glow lights on your face and it plays music and vibrates you. And then also massaging chair things which were kind of like punching yourself in the back. It was like
big lounges, like these big like round lounges, and they also serve like different types of water because Germans love all their Gesundheit,
flavoured
health
water,
and that. So flavoured
water,
fruits,
big fruit things, exotic fruits, smoothies. All this stuff down there, all included for you as well. So it's an absolutely fantastic spa.
So this was interesting because this spa, because usually spas are over 18, this spa had family spa time. So we decided to take the opportunity because Josh wants to know what we get up to in a spa.
Yeah, he kind of regretted that. I would also say I think some people missed the memo about it being the family spa time because there were quite a few people doing the very German thing and walking around nudie in the spa.
Final thoughts. Well, here's where you learn about all the surprises.
It really was surprising. It was not what I expected at all for a cruise ship. Yeah, you see them sail past all these bright lights and the kind of loud music going and you think, wow, that's got to be such a party ship. And it really was quite tame by comparison.
Yeah, what was interesting was that we went on at Christmas. Before we boarded the ship before Christmas, we were getting a lot of emails about how festive it was there.
It was a magical wonderland.
And yeah, our cabin was more festive with a couple of string lights and a Christmas tree than most of the ship.
Yeah, it's a bit sad. When we've cruised around Christmas time before, even like MSC, like European cruise lines,
even Ambassador.
Ambassador being British, of course we do loads of decorations. But yeah, when we've cruised like MSC before, it is really just nice, and the ship gets gradually more festive. They put garland down the banisters and staircases, and it's all really pretty. Lots of decorations go up, lots of things handmade by the kids clubs. Yep. And this time there were some Christmas trees
and some lit up.
I say literally some
with some stars and like a star thing. And
there was a few bits of like light, kind of like giant presents or like a star. But that was it, really. There wasn't that much decoration at all. It was a bit of a real letdown, actually.
Yeah, because when you think of Germany and Christmas, you think German Christmas markets. I mean, they do the best Christmas markets, but on board it just wasn't very festive. And then
they talked about this giant gingerbread town, and I didn't see it anywhere. I saw some gingerbread houses, but and they weren't as impressive, apart from the one that had the security alarm thing going off. That was quite cool.
But apart from that, it was even I thought, okay, Christmas Eve, because that's when Germans usually celebrate. Well, that's when Germans celebrate their main Christmas. I thought they'd put all decorations out and it'd be really, really lovely. And all they did was put these table decorations out, and they were just like sort of pre-stuck together, and it was a bit of a letdown, wasn't it?
Now, a real highlight though for me was the food. The quality of the food on board was spectacular, and actually, had we booked and been able to book into more of the restaurants, the actual included restaurants even, it would have been really, really good, because the quality was spectacular. Even in the buffet, some of the highest quality buffet food that we've ever had.
I agree, yeah.
Which I suppose it has to be, because that is one of the main ways of actually getting your food, because there is no main dining room. And also with a buffet, it did mean you had a variety each day. You could go, I feel like Asian, or I feel like Indian. Yeah, there was an Indian one. Or Italian, or whatever.
Yeah, so there was variety.
And you can have a bit of variety, whereas sometimes main dining rooms can get a bit kind of samey, stale, kind of, it's the same menu as the other night. But yeah, it was just, you could get your variety and make it what you wanted it. And you could obviously book into the restaurants in advance if we had realised.
One thing that I did find very surprising was language. So, as we said before, this is geared towards the German market, but there is other nationalities on board.
Yeah, and before we went on board, a lot of people said, "Oh, I can't go. I'd love to go on AIDA, but I can't because I don't speak German."
Yeah.
Well,
the thing is here is that most of the staff are from all over the world, so the most common language for staff on the ship is English.
and in fact, we actually found out that the official language on board the ship is, wait for it, drum roll please, English.
So everything is in German, so you will get your menus and everything is in German, but the staff themselves will generally speak to you in English. And when I asked the staff whether they actually understood German, a lot of them said, yeah, a few words, but not much.
Not much.
And to be quite honest, what we found was if you're English, you know a few things in German, you're going to get by, no problem whatsoever. The issue is if you're German on a German cruise line, but don't speak English, you're going to have a few
You're going to be in
problems.
trouble. But also, one of the really intriguing things as well, all the safety stuff is done in English and in
Has to be,
German,
yeah.
and it has to be by law. So if you are thinking about doing it and you fancy doing it, get Google to translate the web page for you, book yourself on board, and don't be afraid, because seriously, you will get along fine. And Google Translate on your phone works really well for menus too.
And most Germans speak English anyway, so you're not going to have an issue. People picked up that we spoke English and spoke a mixture of English and German to us, so we got by no problem whatsoever. No. There was one thing about our cabin which I needed to actually bring up, which was a real negative. Tristan?
So it's possibly actually a reason that we would potentially not actually sail with AIDA again.
Yeah.
And this was, they do allow smoking on the balconies.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, unlike, we get it, we love Costa, we sing about Costa all the time, and we had some great cruises on them, but the smoking on AIDA's balconies was prolific.
It was.
Oh my word. Prolific.
Every time.
Actually, prolific doesn't even do it justice. I mean, I like to sometimes sleep with the door open, especially when it's warmer like it was in the Canaries, because I love to hear the ocean. Why do we sit at cruise? Because we love the ocean and the drinks. But I want to hear the ocean at night. And at 3 a.m, when someone goes out on the balcony and there's several people smoking, and they're smoking those really smelly kind of roll-up cigarette ones.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my goodness, seriously, at 3 a.m, you're woken up to a cigarette. It's disgusting.
So it was a bit of a shame because you wanted to lie in your hammock and take in the sun, and then you just get smoke. And then, or you want to sit out at night and have a drink, smoke. You want to sit in your room and have the door open, smoke. So it was really off-putting a lot of the time.
It really was a real disappointment, and unfortunately pretty much ruined the holiday for me, actually. Out of all the good things, the one thing I came away with, apart from a really bad cough, which was not from anything other than I can see the amount of secondhand smoke we inhaled. Even Josh was saying he was getting a bit croaky in his voice because of it, and it's so bad. I was just like, this is just a real negative. It pretty much outweighed all the positives for me.
Yeah, that was the shame. And I mean, as I say, like, you know, it was a comfortable bed, great night's sleep, except for the cigarette sometimes, or for the occasional helicopter that appeared beside our balcony.
This cruise had a lot of activity going on. We had 2 medical evacuations on board. We had one on the very first night at about 3 a.m. I said, I can hear a helicopter. He said,
I said,
don't be
no,
stupid,
you're
go back to
dreaming.
bed. I said, no, I can hear. I opened our curtain on our balcony door, and there was this enormous helicopter flying past our room.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my word. Announcement came over the tannoy. I don't think it came into the rooms. I think it was just on the decks
general
and corridors. So these were being gracious to you if you were asleep at 3 a.m. And said, please don't go on your balconies. We have unfortunately got to do a medical evacuation. It was in German, this announcement. But of course, what did that do? Everyone went on the balcony. Anyone that heard it went on the balcony and was watching. So I feel sorry for the guy, and I do hope that whoever they were got the treatment they needed and got better and is back to health now. And also on the last day,
which was supposed to be sea day,
So last night at the sea before docking early in the morning, the captain came on and said, we've had another medical emergency, so actually we're gonna kind of hightail it into Tenerife port, and we're going to take them off on an ambulance and things. And again, of course, everyone was at the side of the ship watching down and things. So I do again hope they got better and things. One positive on that though It did mean we got a night in port, which meant that you could go out if you wanted to and explore more of Santa Cruz.
And we knew we'd make it on time to the port the next morning, so...
Yes, we were on time. We were definitely on time for the port next night. The only downside, you didn't get the last night at sea, so the shops shut and things like that, which kind of killed some of our plans for that evening. But do you know what? It's a very small thing to pay for, and I do, again, as we said, we hope that the people that did get evacuated are back and safely, and also had insurance.
Yeah, that's true, because it can get very costly.
That helicopter would have been a lot of money.
So all in all, I think it was a good cruise. The negative, as we said, was the smoking was a bit negative. Had we have known about booking restaurants a bit earlier, probably would have been a bit better experience. But yeah, it was different to what we expected. A lot of surprises.
What we would say is, if it sounds like something you'd like to do, definitely do go and give it a try and book. Maybe if you don't like smoking, just book an inside, because then you haven't got that problem. But yeah, definitely give it a go. And certainly if you think language is going to be the stopper, it's not.
It's not.
So give it a go, give it a chance.
Yeah. And if you want to know how to book AIDA, get in contact with us. Send us a message and we'll let you know how the best way is to book AIDA.
We also really want to give a final shout out and thanks to our Patreons.
Yes.
Without them, we really couldn't do a lot of this. They give us so much support and things.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We've got lots of content coming up as well, and I'm sure we'll bring out our vlog series soon as well. So I suppose that's it from us. So let's say bye. See you later. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, like, comment and share.